So everyone, I'm really thrilled to have David Lawrence, the 17th, on with me today. David's a successful voiceover artist and an entrepreneur, and he has developed a way to successfully get into voicing audiobooks. And it could be just overwhelming. Where do you start? And David's cut through all the BS, and he has a way, and he and a partner have developed a way to do this. And he's going to be, I know he's very generous, and I just know David's going to share a lot of information with you today. Some of you have been receiving my emails, and there's free videos, but I'm going to hand it over to David now so he can launch this time together, and we'll start from there.
First of all, thanks for having me on. If you're engaged here and you've thought about audiobooks, you likely have thought, why would I work all that huge amount of time for so little money? Or isn't AI coming for all of our jobs? Aren't we going to be listening to AI delivered audiobooks in the future? What about union versus non-union? What I don't understand. I've heard that audiobooks are different than primetime theatrical or commercials. I don't get it. Tell me all about this. So there are so many things involved in the world of voiceover, not to mention the technology of voiceover, because the traditional way of doing an audiobook is going to a studio somewhere and just sitting and recording it and having somebody else put it together. Whereas with ACX and other production platforms, you're now being given the opportunity to also be the producer and to be in control of the quality of that audiobook. And that can be a really daunting thing for people who already feel like they're challenged by technology. And so when I got together with Dan O'Day, who is really popular in the world of writing and in the world of radio, the world of voiceover, and I said, hey, have you heard about this new thing? We're celebrating our 10th anniversary, by the way. This was 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago. I said, have you heard about ACX? And he's like, what's ACX? And I told him, and he goes, so how much do they charge for that? They don't charge anything. Okay, well, what's the commission they take on when you get, they don't take a commission. Well, how do they make money? That's a good question. So ACX is the Audiobook Creation Exchange, is a company that was created by Audible a few years after they were purchased by Amazon. And ACX stands for the Audiobook Creation Exchange. And I kind of describe it as Tinder for narrators and rights holders, authors and publishers. It's like a dating service. No swiping involved, but that's kind of the situation. It's a matchmaking service between people who narrate audiobooks and people who need narrators. And, Amazon is, if anything, a data-driven and money-driven company. And they created ACX not out of the goodness of their heart, but because they wanted to sell more stuff. They had all of these Kindle authors who had Kindle books who either didn't know how to turn them into audiobooks, didn't know where to go, what to do, couldn't find a narrator, didn't know how to do that, certainly hadn't the money for it. And so they created ACX, which matches up a narrator with a rights holder. The narrator narrates and produces their book, and then Amazon sells it on Audible and iTunes and Amazon, and they have this stack, and there were millions and millions of these books.
So you're saying there's a lot of work available in this?
One of the questions that we get asked all the time is, what's the most common, or what's the most lucrative area of voiceover? And if you're talking about the amount of opportunity, it's certainly audiobooks. If you go on ACX and you don't set up any filters, like I'd rather have fiction versus nonfiction, or murder mysteries versus business books, see that there are thousands and thousands of book titles waiting to be narrated. And you don't have to be invited by somebody like Terry to audition for a project. You just go and audition.
Yeah, these projects do not go through casting directors.
They have started to have internal casting at some of the bigger publishers like Penguin Random House.
Mm-hmm.
And the directors there, they do cast, but it's not the traditional, like when I used to go to Terry's studio over on the West Side, you know, there's no studio set up for this. Everything's done online. Everything's done via MP3 files and so on. And so the casting process is very different from the casting process for commercials or animation or narration or any of that sort of thing. So, yeah, so that's the basics of it. And you can make a lot of mistakes and waste a lot of time and spend way too much money on equipment and also be sitting there going, okay, now that I've got this job, how do I actually produce this book? And then there's the performance side of things, you know? I mean, there are a lot of moving parts, and what we try to do with what's called the ACX Masterclass, that's the class that Terry was describing, is we try to make sense of it all, and we try to give you a very specific, methodical process and framework so that you know what's coming next, you know what you're responsible for, you hold the hand of your author or your publisher, whoever the rights holder is for the book, and it makes all the difference in the world when you have just a little bit of guidance as to how to do things.
So let's, because I have a question.
Okay.
So how does someone audition on this ACX? It's a program, right?
Yeah, it's a platform. It's a
platform.
website.
How
it's a
does
website.
Someone even audition for it? How do they find out about the auditions? How do they submit their audition? And someone asked a very specific question, which I'd like to get to a little bit later. Obviously, if you're auditioning, you need some kind of equipment, you know, what's like a minimal setup. But I'd really like to start with, how do they find the auditions and how do they audition?
Yeah. So let me draw a parallel between what most of the people who follow you would understand the process is with, say, Actors Access. You know, if you're a casting director like a Terry Berland, you have a view into breakdown services that is very different from the view that I would have as an actor. I don't get to see all the projects and all the parts that are up for the roles that are up for audition.
Neither do I.
That's yeah, but you see your projects, right?
Yes, of course.
And you see all of the roles involved in your projects, and you also control who sees those from the actor perspective. Not all actors can see everything. They usually, sometimes, most of the time, have to be invited, right?
Yes.
On ACX, it's as if all of the books that are available to be done are just sitting there waiting for you to search. You don't have to be invited. You don't have to wait for your agent to say, hey, you know, there's this thing. You should, you know, you need a self-tape by tomorrow night at 5. So ACX is so wonderful in so many ways. If you want to go looking for a particular type of book, say that you have the voice, a voice that's built for romance books, or you have a voice that you have a lot of experience in business and technology, and so you're kind of built for nonfiction business books, or whatever. You can go and you can search based on the genre of the book, the style of your voice, your vocal age,
that's so cool.
Any languages that you are a native speaker in, accents and dialects that you specialize in, the ways you get paid. You know, if you only want to look for books that pay per finished hour, you can do that. If you only want to look for books that pay royalty share or royalty share plus, you can do that. And so there's so many options, and you don't have to wait for somebody to invite you. Now, there's a good thing. There's good things and there's bad things about that. The good thing is anybody can audition for any book anytime. The bad thing is anybody can audition for any book anytime.
Right.
And so you get this noise floor of people who don't have training, don't have really the skills to do it, but they're tired of their job working at the service department at a car dealer, and they wake up one sunny Tuesday morning there in Kentucky, and they go, you know what? I'm gonna be an audiobook narrator. That's what I'm gonna do. How hard can it be? You know? So, but the access is there, and part of what we teach in the ACX Masterclass is how to look for books that make the most sense for you, how to avoid scams, because ACX is really popular. Anything that's popular has scams associated with it. We show you how to avoid those scams. We show you how to take advantage of the qualities and the properties of your voice and your approach, and we give you a process that goes from, hey, here's how to search for auditions, here's how to create your account and build a great profile, and then search for auditions. And at the same time, those rights holders that have put these projects up, they're looking for people like you too. So you may end up getting offers. You may end up getting invitations to audition from the rights holder without you going and searching for it. So there's all these open avenues and pathways to do that. And it's a little bit different from what we're used to as actors. Yeah.
That's clear. So once they find the books, they search for what they want to do, which I think is so cool for an actor to be able to do. Then how do they act? What's the audition process? What do they have to hand in to be considered?
Yeah. So the responsibility of what's called the rights holder, the author, the publisher, the production platform, your partner in this process, the people that have the printed book, the written book, their responsibility is to give you a 3 to 5 minute audition sample, which is similar to what you'd get for sides, right? If you were auditioning for anything else.
Right.
If a rights holder is being smart about it, those sides include dialogue, they include exposition, they include character work if that's required. And you basically record that exactly the way you would record the book itself. And we teach you how to do that. We teach you how to master it so that it sounds exactly the way it would sound if it was being offered for sale on Audible. The process is really simple, but you want to prepare it so that the rights holder has an idea when they're listening to your work. How would this sound for the entire book? How would this sound maybe as part of a series? Because a lot of books are, the swimming pool romances part 1, the swimming pool romances part 2, I don't know. But there's series of books, and sometimes they want the same narrator to be the voice for all the books in the series. So those things go through the narrator or the rights holder's head as well. And then your job is to make it easy for them to imagine you as their narrator.
And someone made a remark, how hard can it be? I mean, I think it sounds hard, but apparently some people might think, I don't know. Oh, you just get on, you give them a little sample, submit it, and that's it. So can you give us some of the complexities that people have to know to be successful in this so they're not wasting their time?
Yeah. So, we always talk about in the world of on-camera acting and voiceover acting, unfortunately, some actors pay attention to something called a booking ratio. How many auditions do you have to, go for before you book something? And I don't think that's a valid number whatsoever, because there are so many things that are beyond your control when it comes to the success of being cast in a role. With audiobooks, here's the thing for the people that come and see your lives. Anybody can be on ACX. And so, like I said before, you have this thick noise floor of people who don't know what they're doing. They have no training in the technology side of things. They have no performance training whatsoever. They're not actors. Somebody told them once on the phone they have a cute voice. Who knows? But when you do, so when they do their work, it sounds like it. I mean, one of the exercises we do at the very beginning of the ACX Masterclass, the first week, and we'll do it next week when we start the class, we'll send people to ACX and we'll say, at random, go listen to a bunch of samples that narrators have in their profiles. And the results are stunning, not in a good way. It's like, did these people use the built-in microphone on their computer? Did they use their phone? Were they across the room? Did they edit out their mistakes? Do they even know how to tell a story in a professional level? So when you, as an actor, do this work, this auditioning work, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb all the time. We have people getting offers before the class is over. The class lasts about a month. Every single time we've done this course, every single time, somebody pops in during the second or third week and goes, okay, so hold on a second. I just put my profile up and I put up a couple samples and I've already got an offer. What do I do? And they panic and we go, it's okay. Everything's fine. Likely you'll pass because there'll be lots of opportunities. But go ahead.
I'm trying. Because someone asked an important question, but you just said something that I love. They got in touch with you because they needed some information. So what I understand is anyone who signs up for this, there's they can get in touch with you, have questions answered. They're not left alone, right?
You mean during the class?
A support system.
Oh, yeah. So we have, first of all, we have traditionally done this class every winter. And we do the class, and the class is live on Monday nights and Thursday nights. It's over Zoom. It's not in person. And we've been doing that ever since the thing started. We were online long before being online was cool. And so you have certainly feedback Q&A during those sessions, but we have not one, but two mastermind groups that are constant that you can post a question in like 24/7 basically. And not only are Dan and I in those groups and watching and answering and pointing out where in the curriculum you might find this training, or hey, we haven't covered that yet. I know you want to know this, but let's get the basics in first. Usually you get an answer within a half an hour or so, and sometimes a lot faster. If it's the middle of the night, maybe a little bit slower. But the point is, we have a support system that is unparalleled. And it's been something that the people who've been through the course, and currently we have just shy of 1,000 students that have taken the course. And our students are responsible, get this, for over 7,000 books that are on sale right now. Yeah, that are on sale right now on audible.com. In fact, our students are responsible for 1 out of every 30 books that have been produced on ACX since 2016, when they started keeping track of these numbers. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? What? Hold on, what? Who?
So I have
and we have Audie winners. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That fits right in here. Someone asked, what should the sample of on their profile include? Is it a mix of characters and narration, or what's a good sample? How long is the sample? I think that's a great question.
So it's not just one sample, first of all. You can put a collection of samples, just like you'd have a collection of, speed reels or clips on Actors Access or any other audition site for voiceover. And the rules on ACX is that your sample should be 3 to 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes. And what they should be is very similar to the samples that you hear when you go to Audible and you click on the button that says sample now, right? That's a very familiar thing to both listeners and to rights holders. And so what we teach you to do is prepare your auditions exactly as if they were one of those samples that you would hear on Audible if the book were to be published.
Except they would have to be listening to a good sample and not a bad sample.
Right. And so, like I said earlier, a good sample is one that really pays attention to your vocal qualities. Hopefully that includes, depending upon the category, includes things that make sense in that category. So if you're auditioning for, say, a tech book, narrating some code or narrating some menu items or narrating a process online, including the benefits of it, the gotchas and so on, for that kind of book. For a romance novel, a steamy love scene might be what you want to do, and also the aftermath and the lead up to it, maybe the meeting at the bar, who knows. But in general, you want to have a collection of samples in your profile that are expertly produced, and you'll realize just how easy and methodical the production process is in audiobooks. It's so much easier than one might think.
Oh, so you also include how to produce these samples?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's 4 major categories of training that we do in the ACX Masterclass. The artwork, which is fiction books, nonfiction books, all the different subcategories of all those books. How to perform that with feedback from me. The artwork, the commerce, the business, how ACX works, how you work with a rights holder, how you get paid, how you charge, etc. The science of it, the technology, using the equipment, the gear, the digital audio workstations. We use Audacity. I teach a method called the stair-step method for producing audiobooks that really minimizes the amount of technology challenges that people have. I have many clients who are in their 70s and 80s. I have one client who is in her 80s. She's working on her 44th book.
You are kidding. I know you're not kidding.
I'm not kidding.
God.
I am so proud of Carol Herman. For those of you that know Carol Herman,
I do know Carol
ask her
Herman.
about it. She just wrote her own book called
wow.
It's a children's book, and when I saw that she released it, I said, "You're going to make an audiobook from it?" She goes, "I might be. She's just great. And so, and listen, I often say, if Carol can do it, anybody can do it. and she joins in heartily with that sentiment. If you feel like you're tech challenged, that can be a real stopping point in doing any form of production or performance on camera, self-tapes, just other short commercial voiceover clips, like, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I send an MP3? So we have a very straightforward drag and drop process. And when we teach it in the second and third week of the course, and when people see it, they go, oh, like you can see the relief show up on their face.
Nice.
Because, it's scary when you don't know what you're supposed to do. And it seems like such a daunting thing because audiobooks go on for 10, 15, 20 hours, and you go, God, how long did it take you to do that?
Yeah.
So we make it as efficient as possible without in any way affecting the quality.
Someone is asking how to market yourself as an audiobook narrator, but I think you answered that by describing what the platform is. It's all the projects are there. So whoever asked this question,
good question.
Okay,
it's a good question.
You answered.
And here's why. Yeah, all the work is there, just like all the work is there if you're an on-camera actor or if you're a commercial actor, right? For voiceover or for animation or for video games, right? All the work is there. But how do you market yourself effectively? And the first week is filled with nothing but how to build your profile.
Oh.
What to write in your About Me section, what to say if you don't have, there's a section you fill out in the profile called awards and recognition. Well, what do you do if you've never, in that space, if you've never done anything, right? I have a key phrase that I tell people to put in that, and I'll share it with you right here. I'll just give it away. I usually tell people, if they don't have any experience, to say, I'm a fresh voice. I'm new, and I'm not like anybody else, right?
Nice.
And so how you build that presentation is as important for attracting authors, and when rights holders, if you were to audition for one of their books and they come back to your profile and say, who is this person auditioning for my book? And they see a nicely formatted, well-written, not too much, not too little. The samples are great. We show you how to build your sample portfolio. All of this is in service of that marketing of your work. Go ahead.
Which answers, or maybe you could go into a little more. Someone asked the question, what's the best way to determine which genres of books your voice is best suited
I love this
for?
question. I love this question because people think it matters.
Oh,
I want to ask everybody watching to answer this question for me. If you had been told at the beginning of your acting career where you would be, where you are now, if you had been told this is where you'd be, where you are now, would you have believed them? Would you have changed anything? Here's the thing. I coach people all the time on this pursuit of the work. When I moved to Los Angeles in 2003 to do on-camera work,
mm-hmm.
I thought with this gorgeous face and this amazingly bulked up physique, the only thing I'd be doing was sitcoms. I'd be like, the goofy frat boy next door that never grew up. I'd be the uncle you want to keep the kids away from. You don't want to ever let him babysit. That's what I thought I would be. And if you'd said to me, being a creepy evil villain was not on my bingo card. It just wasn't. And yet, that category of work, I had no idea how much fun it was. I had no idea what great lines you get when you're the villain. You're the one that says all the cool stuff. You're the one that's going to destroy the world. You're the one that has an awesome lair and cool weapons, and your girlfriend is so hot. I mean, it's like, you have no idea what's coming, and you can't safely predict what you're good at. Usually what people do is, though, well, I like adventure books, so I'm going to go after those. Okay, great. Start with what you like, but don't cut yourself off in various categories that you don't even know you might be good at, right?
Right.
You might be awesome at a category like, young adult. You might have the vocal qualities and the ability to uptalk for some of your characters and be kind of sullen for others, and who knows, you may just really lend yourself to that kind of book. Here's a great example in my personal experience. I was booked to do a New York Times bestseller where the protagonist is a 27-year-old, not 27, a 27-year-old female, Harvard educated, Irish American, Buffalo, New York native, police detective, again, who's a woman. And when I got the booking, I called Penguin Random House and I said, did you make a mistake here? I mean, did you really want me? Oh yeah, we thought her name is Absalom Carney, Abby. They said what you did with Abby was great. And I'm like, oh, well, great. All right, awesome. Let's do this. And I not only did that book, I did the sequel. And it was a creepy, like horror-driven murder mystery. And you know who it is from the very beginning, and you're watching the police, try to find this guy, right? I would not have predicted that I would be the voice of the first book, the series. Doesn't matter. I would be. That's not me. But being open to those opportunities
Mm-hmm.
is not only something that you should pay attention to in the world of voiceover, but every category of work that we do. And so, yeah, so I think that's a good way of putting it. You never know. I would start with what you like, but be open to everything else.
And thank you. That's a great answer. Someone is asking, like, how do they even set up, or what do they need for a affordable, voiceover studio?
Yeah. So I think one of the big mistakes people make is they start with the tools. It's like, I'm going to be a woodworker, so I'm going to go buy the most expensive chisels and mallets and lathes and planers and, cross-cut saws and all this. First of all, I think you really should take a moment and give yourself some grace and say you want to make sure that you get good gear, but not overspend on that gear. And there happens to be a very, very cool microphone that I use for my work and that I recommend to our students when they ask about it, from Audio Technica. It's the AT2020 USB Plus. And yes, I said USB. And if you've listened at all to the advice of people in the world of audiobooks, they often will make the blanket statement, never use a USB microphone. And they're absolutely correct. You usually should not use a USB microphone. What they're talking about is the headset mic that you'd use to play video games online. You don't want to use that. But this particular microphone is basically a studio mic with all of the guts of the interface miniaturized and shoved into the bottom of the mic. And it sounds awesome. And I've had engineers argue with me about what mic I was using. You know, I'll tell people all the time, I have a U87, a Neumann U87, and an MKH 416 from Sennheiser sitting on the shelf up there in their oak boxes where they've been for over a decade since I found the AT2020 USB Plus. And on a bad day on Amazon, the AT2020 is $100. So you can't you can't even argue on, well, just look at the price. You can tell that it's a bad mic because it's inexpensive, right? But it's great. And, you know,
great.
Yeah. So I say minimize your risk. Try the mic that I use. See if it works for you. We show people how to set it up. We show people how to balance it. It has a headphone jack. I insist that people, when they're doing audiobook narration, at least wear earbuds or headphones so they can hear when they pop a P and they can immediately do a pickup, or they don't get a word quite right, they can immediately do a pickup. That's part of our mastering and editing process, so that you can take care of business right away. And the faster you are at that work, the work hours versus finished hours, the more books you can narrate and the more books you can make money from. And that's our goal.
That's really, really great information. I don't see any other questions.
Somebody asked,
is there any?
How to spell Abby Carney from the book. The book is called Black Irish, and it's by Stephen Talty. And the other book is called Hangman. That's the sequel. Stephen Talty, Talty. If you want to look it up and listen to the samples, so you go, oh, really? Okay, cool.
I'm excited. I'm sure we're going to get more questions, but while we're waiting for that, people have been on a while. How can I have sent out newsletters with how to get more information and sign up for this, but for those, I think there's a bonus, or that you're paying, your organization is paying now. Is that still going on? $300 of the, and when does that end, and when does registration start and end? And then we'll take more questions, but I just want to get this in for the people who are very, very interested and need to hop off.
So if you've gotten Terry's newsletter, or if you've gotten her shares on social media, she has a button you can press. It's a big black button with white letters on it that says click here for more information. Do that. And what you'll be sent to is a page. We opened registration on Sunday. We're closing registration this Friday, but tonight is the deadline for what we call early action bonus pricing. Dan will pay the first $300 of your registration fee if you sign up before tonight at 9 p.m. And tonight is Tuesday, January 30th at 9 p.m. Pacific time. We start class on Monday, so we got to get things squared away between now and then.
Which Monday? Monday the 5th. Okay.
The 5th, the one upcoming, this coming Monday.
Okay.
We start class. That's our first live class that night. We get everybody matriculated over the weekend. So we close down the registration. But if you want to save $300, do it today. And if you're going to do it at all, you might as well do it now, rather than waiting until Friday for some other piece of evidence that you aren't making, you know, a horrible mistake. You know, we have Audie Award winners. We have Audie finalists. Audies are the Oscars of audiobooks. We have people who have done 40 books, 60 books, 100 books. This past week, I was sharing reels of people who have done 90 or more books. We have one of our students has done over 250 books since he took the class. And he was an air traffic controller that was forced to retire at age 55. His name is J. Rodney Turner. He lives on a farm in Tennessee, and he's got one of these great Southern voices, and he does the Westerns, and he does the Southern books, and he's just great. And he is just an awesome individual. His story is fantastic. He'd never done audiobooks before he started with us. We take you from zero to hero within 1 month, if not less. And if you, by the way, if you're following Terry and you're already doing voiceover stuff, you likely have everything that you need, right? We kind of push you to use Audacity, even if you're using Logic or you're using Adobe Audition or you're using Pro Tools, because those are kind of like using an atom bomb to start a campfire or to light a match. You don't really need that kind of power for audiobooks. Audacity's free, so the barrier to entry is pretty low, and we want to help you do that with this $300 premium. It'll be $300 less for you to join through 9 o'clock tonight. So click on one of Terry's links.
So go to Instagram, Berland Casting. There'll be a link to this ACX masterclass. And this brings us right into, someone is asking if you would go over the 4 categories again.
That I teach?
That they will get.
Sure.
With this.
So the art, the commerce, the science, and the mindset. So the artwork is the performance: fiction, nonfiction, young adult, mystery, erotica. We take you through all of the different categories. We show you how to search for those auditions. We show you how to build your profile, etc. The business, the commerce, is how to operate efficiently and effectively on ACX in the world of audiobooks. With a rights holder, how to hold their hand and manage the process. You're really the project leader there. We talk about the science, which is the technology, the microphone, the audio workstation, the process, the editing, the mastering. Audible has technical requirements for their audio. We give you a piece of software that I developed a couple of years ago called Audio Cupcake. What?
You give it to them?
Give it to them, yeah. We give them that.
Wow.
And it is a very simple piece of software. When you're finished editing each of your chapters, you export that as a WAV file, and then you drag and drop it on top of Audio Cupcake, and it creates an MP3 file directly that's ready to upload to ACX and fully matches their technical requirements. You don't even have to worry about that. And then finally, it's the mindset. This is no different from any other pursuit of performance.
Right.
There's an awful lot that is more in your control with audiobooks. You get to go look for the auditions you want. You can audition for anything that you want to audition for. But we talk about, how to handle it when you don't hear from somebody, or you do hear from somebody, but it's probably not the right project for you. There's scams on ACX and in the world of voiceover in general. There's a group that I'm a member of here called Voiceover Red Flags. And with AI and with people just wanting to jump on Audible briefly and make some money with books they may have stolen, we show you how to avoid those things.
Wow.
In fact, one of our graduates is actually one of the industry experts on avoiding scams on ACX.
Wow.
So the mindset is really important, and it's something that I've added to the mix in the last 4 or 5 years, because I don't think people pay enough attention to it. And it sort of parallels the whole mental health thing that athletes have been promoting and that stars have been promoting. I think we should pay attention to our own mental health and our own mindset work. And so those are the 4 things that we do.
Yeah. And I just want to remind everyone, when you go to this link, it's not only a sign up or more information, but you can listen. If you haven't listened to the free videos that's packed full of more information, you can listen to those videos there too.
Yeah, people have said they've learned more from those free videos than in many classes that they've paid hundreds of dollars for. We break down the myths of the world of audiobooks. You can't work if you're in the union, or there's no money in it, or it's too hard, or there's not enough opportunity, or I don't have the right voice for this sort of thing. And this group of people that are watching this is a very interesting self-selected group of people. You know, these are people who follow Terry Berland. And
Mhm.
so they already have an advantage to that auto repairman in Paducah, Kentucky, right? You guys have the talent and the willingness to spend an hour with somebody like Terry, who's guesting, who's hosting me as a guest. You've taken the time out of your Tuesday morning to watch this, or your Tuesday afternoon to watch this. So that means you've already got an advantage. So those are that's what we teach.
For thanking you, thanking you, thank you. Mary Pesco has been giving a lot of comments. Her favorite part of the day so far.
Oh, great.
It looks like you might be getting into audiobooks. And guys, when you watch these videos, which are packed full of information, remember that if you want to join, tonight is the deadline for this class to actually pay $300 of your fee.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about something that's kind of the big elephant in the room, and something that we went on strike for this past year, and that's artificial intelligence, synthetic voices. So I'm on the voiceover committee. I'm on the audiobook narrator steering committee at the union. I've been an advisor to the artificial intelligence group, and audiobook narration is one of those really, really big jobs that artificial intelligence companies think they can handle instead of human beings. And I can tell you that there's now evidence. It's not just maybe, but there's now evidence that it's likely not something that's going to be easy for artificial intelligence companies to do. You know, Audible has been slowly rolling out the option for authors to use what they call virtual voice. It's an artificial intelligence package that will create a synthetic voice for your audiobook. They have about 8,000 in the library right now. If you go on Audible and search for virtual voice as the narrator, it will show you how many books they have. This morning, in preparation for this appearance, I went and looked at some of the reviews of these books. To say that the audience would rather put sharp sticks in their eyes than listen to these books, well, listen, it's not going to be this way forever. Those voices are going to get better and better and better, but what they aren't going to be able to do is be aware of things like a story arc that lasts the entire book, not presenting the work in a way that blows the reveal, right? Are they great for nonfiction? Yeah, maybe. There are times when a project, you've got a rights holder just doesn't have any money and really doesn't want to share the money, and so they'll try it. But I can tell you that big publishers, authors that have crafted their books over months and months and months and years, maybe even decades before they published their book, they worked on it. So, do you think they're going to trust the audiobook version of that to a computer? And
No.
then the results, the reviews are showing us exactly what people think. If you don't know that something's artificial voice, synthetic voiced, you're going to realize that within a few minutes of listening to the book. They're going to mispronounce a word, or they're going to have the wrong emotion at something with something.
Sometimes
or
the wrong inflection
yeah.
gives the totally wrong emotion.
Absolutely.
Not sometimes.
Or they won't know how to pronounce a pharmaceutical, or they won't know how to pronounce a geographic location or something. Yeah. Or instead of saying present, they'll say present. He gave her a present. Okay, did he? Was it a ring? Was it present? Anyway, and those big publishers also know that their projects deserve a bespoke audiobook, and will continue to be that. And it's easy for they've got decades of experience of keeping their costs down and making money. And yeah, artificial intelligence could save them a few bucks up front, but then will they make the money on the back end? There's a lot to look at that isn't, oh my God, artificial intelligence is coming for our jobs.
Someone,
right?
yeah, someone just mentioned the beats where there's breath there's a breath in a
Absolutely.
beat. I don't mean breath. I
No,
mean
but
there's
letting something
life in
land.
that moment.
Exactly.
They
Letting
can't do
something
that.
land. You know, it's like, so I got to go to the store. I got to pick up the kids. I got to
Yeah.
grab some food for dinner. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. That kind of performance is not possible unless there's some human intervention and crafting it. At that point, you're not saving any time or effort with artificial intelligence. You're telling artificial intelligence how a human would do it, right? So yeah. So
You know,
I just want people to be aware of
what
that. Go ahead.
you mentioned, and I sort of went like this when you're mentioning it a couple of times. You're mentioning very big publishers, and even the publisher you worked for, like, use this platform. It's not like a,
Oh, let me be clear about something. There
okay,
are big publishers that use ACX, but a publisher like Penguin Random House, they actually have their own platform called Ahab. And
okay,
the very last module in the course is called Beyond ACX. And it's designed to show you how you can take everything that you've learned in the ACX masterclass and apply it to working for big publishers, big producers, other platforms. We even go into how there's a difference between their workflow. You know, ACX has a particular kind of workflow, and we show you how to do that. But we also show you how the big publishers work as well. We give you contact information. We show you how to take the samples that you've created for your ACX profile and use them on Ahab, or use them on Findaway, or use them on other spaces where, you know, we are aware of the audiobook universe, and we teach ACX first, and then take advantage and leverage that learning that you have with our course working for the big publishers.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I see that people are starting to communicate with each other, follow each other. I think that's great. We are a community. Voiceover community is very, very friendly. Those of you who aren't on my newsletter, go to terryberlandworkshops.com, sign up for the newsletter so you know about all these things in case you miss it on social media. We communicate directly with you, with lots of opportunities. And
I saw a question that flew by saying, do you teach other things in the class besides audiobooks? And the answer is no. Now, can you take my stair-step method and use it when you're auditioning for other things? Absolutely. I do all the time. But we concentrate very specifically on how to add audiobooks to your acting quiver, to your acting toolkit, whether you're doing other words in voiceover, whether you're on camera. If you go on Audible and search for big A-list actors, you'll find them. They're doing this work. You know, Reese Witherspoon voiced the follow-up to To Kill a Mockingbird. Anne Hathaway voiced The Wizard of Oz. The big name actors that are doing this kind of work because it's relaxing, it's fun, it's a good way to spend your downtime, and it's a great way to fill the gaps between your auditions and your work and bring in money as well. So
great. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I've been watching all your communications. If we didn't answer anything, you can email us at info@berlandcasting.com. Jamie will put that in the chat. Thank you so much. You're so generous. I'm so excited to be able to bring this opportunity to everyone, and I'd love you to have the closing words.
yeah, so first of all, if you'd told me 20 years ago when I first met Terry Berland, someday you're going to be on an Instagram live with her, I'd say,
Right.
What is Instagram? You're such a leader in this space, and to give me this opportunity to share with your followers the information here, I just so adore you for that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
This is one of those low-hanging fruit in the world of performance, in the world of voiceover in particular, but acting in general. that a lot of people look at and go, nah, that's too hard. And it's not. It's not a big, long uphill slog. It's a series of short hops across some islands. You know, it's a series of lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Record a chapter, edit it, give your voice a rest, have some chamomile tea, have some coffee, you know, relax. You've got 60 days to do a book usually. I usually get books done, there you go, within a week or so. And you can really begin to expand your character development, your script analysis skills, your cold reading skills, because sometimes you just want to get that audition out and it's really obvious what's on the page. You'll start seeing subtext. These are all performance things that will enhance not only your voiceover work, but your on-camera work as well. I feel like I'm a much better on-camera actor having done audiobooks and having created different characters. It's just, to me, it's really rewarding in so many ways. And this course will take you from knowing nothing or having a whole bunch of misconceptions, miscalculations, and false impressions of what it's like, to being knowledgeable, to being powerful, to being able to go and audition for something, manage the process all the way through, and create a new income stream for yourself. That's what our goal is. So hit Terry's link. Let us know that you're interested. If you do it before 9 o'clock tonight, you're going to save $300, and we'd like to do that for you.
Thank you so much, David.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Jamie, for helping out. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie. Speak to you in a bit. Thank you, everyone. Bye.